Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I am Natasha Bray, and I used to go by the title Success Mastery Coach for women who want to unlock more success and freedom in their lives. But I am going through a big transition in my business right now. So I'll just tell you what I do. I help women like Dimple, just like you, to achieve something I call healing mastery or success mastery, where you are opening up to receiving much more high levels of love, success, impact, and wealth in your life. And I'm here with the amazing Dimple. And Dimple's also going through that huge transition. And we're talking about it because we think it's such an important lesson for anybody watching this. A lesson around evolving in your business. And I guess sometimes how you feel like you don't quite want to let go of your old version of your business, but your soul is calling you to a newer, much bigger version. And Dimple's a very good example of someone also going on that journey. Dimple, I'll introduce her as an alignment and relationship coach and magician. She does some very powerful work. But those few words don't really sum up what Dimple does. So I'm going to hand you over to Dimple now, and she's going to tell you a bit about her work and the evolution of her work and what it is she does now. So over to you, Dimple.
Thanks, Natasha. Well, it's a privilege to sit in the room with you. It really is. It's wild how we started working together. I'll tell you a bit about what I do and the evolution of it. And, I realized that putting myself in a box of a title felt very constrictive, because it isn't like you. It isn't just what you do. What people come to me for is situations with their relationships, or it could be that they just feel stuck, or that one aspect of their life is going really well and the other aspect behind the scenes isn't. Or it could be that they just want to scale up in their lives. It could be, most of the time it's relationship, a lot of the time it's manifesting. So they just, for example, if you had a business owner who was wanting to scale from 5 to 7 figures, it's not that there's anything wrong with their business, it's just that they want more. And so these are the people that I work with: couples, men, women, predominantly in relationships because of what I went through in mine. And with the evolution now, what's happening is more and more people are coming to me saying, my relationship is okay, actually. I want to scale my life. I want to scale all areas, right? I want more. So that's a really exciting place to be, right? Where you want more joy, more happiness, more success, more abundance in all the ways. So I don't know what my title is anymore. I don't have one.
And I'm sure there'll be something that we land upon, both of us, in the near future. But I think it's also really great that you mentioned that there doesn't always have to be something wrong as such for us to want more and to want to create some transformation in our lives. I often talk about that as going from good to great. Almost like 2 different stages. I feel there is that rock bottom, like this isn't working, something really needs to change. And then there's also that everything's okay, it's going well, but I want more. I really want more.
Yeah. And the excitement of that, right? The liberation of going, actually, I don't have to have a struggle to desire more. It's okay. Like, I get to have it all. And I get to have it all in such a beautiful, kind, effortless, not energyless, effortless way. So the way I distinguish that is that I'm not saying that you can't, that it doesn't require energy for you to achieve. It does. You and I both know the hours we put in at times, right? But it doesn't feel like hard work, because it's fun when you love what you do, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the reasons that we're here today is because Dimple has so much wisdom that she can share with you about creating success in all areas, business and in relationships and in life. And also, we've been working together for quite a while. Initially, Dimple worked with me on a 9-week package, and then we had a whole year together after that. So call it a year and a few months, 15 months, something like that. And, you know, so much magic happened for you in that time, Dimple.
Yeah.
And you've been on such a huge, huge journey of evolution. And obviously, you were already a successful business owner before you came to work with me. And it's just been so amazing to see the even bigger shifts, as you say, going from good to great, isn't it? And what was it back then, if you can remember that far?
Yeah.
What was it initially that you were looking for, and what made you decide to work with me, I guess?
It's a brilliant question, and Natasha, I appreciate it because the journey has been an evolution. And yes, I have done a lot of personal development, a lot of strategy work before working with you. So it wasn't that I didn't know what to do. It was that the only analogy I can use is that heart surgeons can't perform heart surgery on themselves. It's literally, doesn't matter how good you are as a surgeon, you can't perform, you can't see what you can't see, right?
Yeah.
And what I felt for working with you, when the reason I was pulled towards you was because I was desiring somebody to unblock some of the things within me that I couldn't see and I couldn't do for myself.
Yeah. I think I also use that analogy sometimes.
Right.
Because people feel a lot ashamed, don't they, sometimes, if they work in a specific area and almost they say, oh, well, I should be able to sort this problem out for myself because I'm the expert in this area. But we all need that, as you say, that external heart surgeon, because there's no way you can always perform like any kind of surgery on yourself, let alone heart surgery. You know, you need that expert pair of eyes and that expert mind outside of you to help you see and heal what you might not be able to reach yourself.
Exactly. And so for me, I had the awareness that there were some blocks there. And I had the awareness that it was causing discomfort. And I had the awareness that it was blocking all areas of my life, my business, my home, my relationship with my children. It was all areas that, how can I say? I don't like to call it blocks, actually. It's not a block. It's more of a gap. Like, what am I not seeing? What am I not seeing in that place? What needs addressing? And so I was really looking for somebody who, because I really believe in the quantum. I really believe that timelines are irrelevant. Things can happen like that. And what you provided for me, Natasha, was that very quickly able to home in on what is the problem and how do we get to the solution. Because what I find is with a lot of strategy work, you're putting a plaster, if you like, on the wound, but we're not actually addressing the wound. And then every now and again there's something that triggers you, and that's like the plaster being ripped off, right? You still got the wound underneath. So what I found in your work, which was really helpful, which I do for my clients, is address the wound. Like, let's heal that wound. Let's just see where the wound is. And it's okay to address it, right?
It's not there, because that's where we need to go.
Yes, exactly. So I loved that aspect of your work, and of course your business success. So that was something else that at the time when I came to see you, my main revenue was from one-to-one clients, very high paying, amazing one-to-one clients. And I wanted a bit more, I wanted to dance and play in the realm of groups and the way that you have a hybrid system. So I wanted to not necessarily copy your system per se, as to experience it through you to see whether it was a good fit for me or not. So those were the reasons.
I remember you saying like a key outcome that you wanted was to create your own body of work, so that you, as much as you love one-to-one, also to move beyond that as well,
Yes.
impact more people as a result. And
Yes.
yeah. So there was some, I guess, yeah, and I think it's safe to say that you are an ambitious woman and you wanted to also, as well as increase impact, increase income, as so many of us want to do as well. They come hand in hand, really, don't they?
Yeah. And I absolutely wanted to heal my relationship with money. I knew that that was a huge, huge challenge for me, coming from a family of refugees and a whole lineage of women who have never been able to support themselves financially. I've always had a man supporting them financially. So yeah, I had a goal. You know, I wanted to hit that 7 figures in my business.
Yeah.
There's no shame about that, and it's taken me a while to actually release that shame and guilt around it, and through your work I was able to do that and open the doors to receiving it. Right.
No, I remember you saying, I'm going to be your first $1 million client in 2022.
Yeah.
And you were, and it was that declaration, that claim in it, which is also a key piece. Maybe not necessarily knowing how it's going to happen, but declaring and deciding, this is who I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to create.
Yeah, exactly. And I've just got chills as you say it, because I did declare it. I declared it in January 2022, right? I remember the conversation. I was like, no, I am doing this, and I'm going to be your first one. And yeah, it happened. Which is wild, right? Because honestly, the figures were, I was probably low 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
Low 6 figures.
When we first started together, and then you ended on a 7-figure business. So you went from 6 figures to 7 figures in 15 months.
Yes, 15 months. It was just outside of 12 months. Like, who cares?
It took me like a few years. I'm trying to remember. My first 6-figure year was 2018. It took me a couple of years to hit my first 7-figure year after that. And you totally collapsed time around that. There's not a lot of people that you hear of that go from where you were to where you ended up in that really quick space of time for that much.
And I look back and I think it was less than 20 clients.
Yeah. Yeah, that's phenomenal. And you have so much free time. You're always traveling the world. I love seeing all the different adventures that you go on. So let's try and take it back a little bit, because I really want you to share as much as possible about the wisdom of going on that journey. It's not always a straight line as well. And that's so important to share. It's not like this whole magical unicorns and rainbows the whole time.
No.
Quite like that, wonky roller coaster.
Yeah, for sure. There were many, many painful, tearful sessions with you, where I had to go deep, and I felt safe with you because I knew that you were supporting me. But sometimes you've got to walk through the fire, right? You've got to go there, because if you don't address it, it'll just keep rearing its ugly head. And actually, it's not as bad as you think. You know, one of my other mentors that I work with as well, and some of the time I had 2, you and somebody else. And this analogy I love, like, do you have to walk through the fire. Do you choose to be burnt like a barbecued chicken, or do you choose to walk through and rise like the phoenix?
Yeah. I've never heard that quote before, but that's such a good analogy. Yeah.
Right?
Phoenix, I don't want to be a barbecue chicken.
Exactly, especially a vegetarian one like me. Right. So many times, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't appreciate. You have to have the courage. You have to have the conviction to know that it's possible for you. You have to have the courage to know that you have it within you to withstand whatever you need to. You have to have a big enough why. For me, I remember saying to you that 7 figures, and I'm looking up because I still have the board that I did with you, right? And the board, looking at it, the main driver for me was I wanted to donate to 2 charities, and I wanted to donate a substantial amount that would make a difference to those 2 charities. And I got to do that. I got to do that, right? People's lives change because I get to do what I love to do in impacting other people, and then I get to pay it forward, right? And the people I work with, the ripple effect of that, because my work through them, your work through me, my work through them,
It's the big change, isn't it?
huge. It's huge. So that's what excites me, and that's the wisdom. You know, if you're asking me about wisdom, it's make a decision. It's decide that you are strong enough and you have what it takes, supported, and you've chose well. This is the other thing. I wrote a post about this. I'm going to be publishing it at some point this week, and it was all around trusting your instinct on who you've chose. Because it's not about the mentor, it's not about the healer, it's not about the coach, it's actually about you deciding whether it's going to work for you or not. Right? And when you hold that power in yourself, then it's inevitable that it's going to work. It's done. It's already done.
Yeah, I had the very same feeling, because it is scary sometimes investing in yourself and investing in yourself at higher levels, of course. And I remember the first £111 course I ever bought, and I made a $75,000 investment yesterday. But you know, the fear still comes up every new level that you grow to. And I could decide that it's not going to work. Like, your mind and your decisions about things really do lead to self-fulfilling prophecies. I could decide that it's going to go wrong, that the investment's not going to pay off. Like, all of these things I could tell myself. Or I can say to myself, I'm deciding that I will make the most of that investment no matter what.
Exactly.
And that power and control is yours then, and what you do with that.
Completely. And this is why a lot of the time I turn clients away, because if they're not ready to believe in themselves, then it's not going to work. It's just as simple as that. You got to decide that your intuition is right.
Yeah.
And you've got to trust it, and you've got to jump and leap, right?
One in business, and it's probably one of the most significant things that we need, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's okay to go, actually, no, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
Equally, it's not about, you know, this whole like FOMO piece on, which I used to have a lot of. And this is how I know this, because I've lived it, right? I used to have a lot of FOMO. Oh gosh, if I don't go with this mentor, then I'll miss out. Completely the wrong frequency.
Yeah.
Completely the wrong frequency. Go with what your instinct is telling you. Like, I've invested, when I think now over the years since 2017, which is when I went on this personal development journey, I have invested close to $750,000 in
I can't even, I'd have to add mine up, but probably close, to be honest, to a similar amount.
And it was scary. And it's not that I had that money, because I didn't. But I knew that that investment wasn't me investing in a coach or a mentor, but it was investing in me.
Yeah. And I think there is, you know, there's always that, it's almost like that expansion in how much you feel able to invest in yourself as well. Obviously trusting your intuition and doing due diligence and all of those things. But a lot of the time, what stops the investment is the fear of that more, essentially. Investing more in you and having the worth to do that, but also having the worth to receive what can come as a result of that investment.
Exactly. And having the mindset that actually, and this is not just money, by the way, it's also to do with love. I feel money and love have the same frequency. And so it's also to do with love, right? If you're constantly giving, and you're wondering why you're not getting back in your relationship, well, consider that actually it's right there at your front door. You've just not opened the front door to receiving.
Yeah.
And the same with money. It's exactly the same with money. And that's what happened to me. The moment I opened the front doors to receiving and knowing that I'm worthy of it,
Yeah.
clients came from nowhere, literally nowhere.
That was actually the focus of what we initially did together, wasn't it? We did the package around healing your receiving wounds. And I know that's so long ago now, but can you remember how, like, what things started to change in you, like in how you felt about yourself as a result of that?
Yeah, huge. It was huge. That first 9 weeks was incredible. And it was all around recognizing that I had kept the doors closed. And I kept them closed to protect myself. And actually, the truth is, once I realized that there was nothing to protect myself, and I'm always safe, and it's my birthright to be safe, I'm always protected because safety is within me, everything changed. The doors were open, and how everything changed, I started to receive clients. I remember the first one was a 40K client. And it just went bigger and bigger numbers from there. I started to get clients who were wanting me. I remember the conversation, and I don't know whether you do or not, in the January, and a client wanted me to do in person.
Yeah, I remember.
Right? All expenses paid. They even sent their private jet for me.
Which was on your manifesting board as well.
It was.
Your quantum vision that we put together for the years. I was like, what is going on? Unlocking.
Yeah. And all these things that I hadn't planned per se, I'd put them out there, hadn't planned to do in person, in beautiful hotels and flying first class and all the things. But what
You were ready to receive.
I was ready to receive. And also what happened as well, I was ready to receive from my husband. I was ready to receive from my girls. I had blocked that through my ancestral wounds.
Yeah. And what sort of things then? Because obviously a lot of the work that is behind healing the receiving wounds is healing relational wounds, and that could be from this life, could be from ancestors, can be past lives sometimes as well. So how did your relationships change then?
Yeah, massively. So I started to see that when my husband was trying to give love and me not see it, even more so, it wasn't that it was a deeper,
in ways almost.
yeah, deeper compassion and understanding. I started to witness my daughters in a different way. And I started to allow myself to be gifted, right? To be gifted when they bring me a cup of tea, when the small things, right? When they do something nice for me. And the way I received shifted. So I got excited when they did. I didn't take it for granted. Like when they brought me a cup of tea in bed, I'd be like, my favorite cup, and you remembered it all, and like this means a lot to me, right? As opposed to, oh, thanks for my cup of tea, or not even noticing.
How you're receiving. That's a really powerful lesson, I think. How you're receiving. Dismissive, like, oh, thanks, or really being in that energy of gratitude. And yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So it was very much those kinds of things. It was noticing what they were doing rather than what they weren't. Right.
And I think we can apply that in so many different areas, with partners, in business, with teams, all those different relationship areas.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, things started moving really quickly, particularly after COVID. you know, because I'd always wanted to do in person before COVID, and I had been doing, and then it died off, and then I got used to online like everybody does. But wow, the power of in person.
Mm-hmm. And can you talk a little bit about, because I guess when we first started, you were more in the field of relationships and working with relationships. But since then, you've gone on this evolution of your work, which is obviously still an area of massive expertise for you.
Yes.
You've gone on this evolution of your work. And I remember something quite significant where almost like the power of your work got more powerful as well. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, what was interesting is that a lot of my work prior to working with you was very much strategy. And I did do a lot of energy healing as a separate thing. So it was either energy healing or strategy on your
Yeah.
relationship.
Here's my masculine logical,
Yes,
and here's my feminine magic over here.
exactly. And there was a moment when I suddenly realized, oh, actually, I can blend the two so powerfully to create quantum leaps,
Yeah.
right? So I was starting to experience people saying, we've been in therapy, like marriage therapy for 3 years and not had the results we're having with you in 3
And
sessions.
yeah. I remember one, like,
One
even
session. Yeah.
I remember that feedback that you had, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, you're right. It was just one session, and I was like, this is interesting. So the energetics, so spirit and strategy, both, right? Because our human mind needs the strategy to make logical sense of it. It's not that we don't need that. There are some clear fun. It's like you can't go into business if you don't know how to do business, right? There's some clear things that you do need to know how to do, right? And that's the same with relationships. We don't get taught the differences between men and women, how masculine and feminine can polarize and depolarize in your relationship. All those things you need to know, right? And there's the doing and the being. So the being is, who are you being when you're doing those things?
Yeah.
Right? That's the energetics behind it. So yeah, there was a huge shift. And what I found happening was people were starting to ask me more about the energetics of how I do business, how I create the balance in my life, how I travel. Like I literally travel every 2-3 weeks. Like I just booked 2 trips yesterday and I've only been home 10 days.
Yeah. So you are really living the dream, and also you created your body of work as well. You've expanded what you do. You set up there. I've been dimpled.
Hey, can you see it?
Yeah, there's like so many exciting things happening. In-person events. Tell us a bit about what your business looks like now and the exciting things that you've got coming up.
Thank you. Well, what happened was before I started working with you, I had so many ideas all over the place and it wasn't streamlined. It wasn't in an order, and you really supported me in helping me see, one, that I can have several income revenues, and two, that it doesn't matter if it's not your way. What matters is it's aligned to me, right? So now, as a result of that, I've really got my business really quite cool and smart. So I have 4 pillars of revenue. I have my one-to-one clients, which are my high-end clients. I see them in person or online. I then have a mastermind, Quantum Minds, which is starting again in September. And that is really for, it's predominantly women who want to achieve and scale their lives in all the ways. So it can be business, spirituality, it can be relationship, really helping them focus on what their purpose is, right? And then I have my in-person events. So I have an in-person event in Manchester happening in June this year. And then I also have my couples retreats. Those are in person. So that's happening. I've got one in Mexico in October. And I also have my programs, my signature programs. Ladies go first, men only. Then the final piece is my merchandise range. So the I've been dimpled range, which dimpled got trademarked, and it means permission to be your authentic self.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Because so many of my clients were coming back saying, you've just dimpled me.
I feel like I was dimpled, and I was your coach and healer at the time. You know, I think you have got that powerful energy. Anyone you come into contact with feels dimpled.
Thank you. And it's really, I'm just a mirror. I'm able to see people's souls and power in them, really like it's literally there for me to see. And so my job really is to help you see it. So it's so interesting you say that, because people that have met me over the years with different events, it's this year they've come back to me and said, Dimple, I still remember that one thing you said to me. But Dimple, that changed everything for me, you know? So I decided to, well, Spirit actually guided me to have, because I want the word dimpled to be a household term. It's not about me. It's about actually giving yourself or somebody showing you permission to be yourself. And again, the word permission isn't you need permission. It's allowing yourself to have that permission from yourself or others, right?
Yeah. Well, so many exciting things coming up for you, Dimple. And if anybody is loving listening to all the things that you're sharing, where can they find out more about you and your services?
So I have a website, dimpleglobal.com, or my name, Dimple Thakra, is my handle for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I think I don't use Twitter very often, and all the other places, LinkedIn. So it's just my name. So I want to say as well, Natasha, if I may, that you literally opened the doors. You opened the doors for me, and you gave me permission to be dimpled, right?
Be yourself to be dimpled.
Yes, exactly, right? And I have so much respect, love, and gratitude for you, and because I see as well the courage it takes for you to do the work you do and continue to level up, right? You don't stop.
No, there is no.
It's impossible, because once you're on this train, there's no turning back. And what people don't see behind the scenes is the courage it takes to keep going, to continue to know that your purpose, your mission is far bigger than you, and you're leaving a living legacy in people's hearts. So I really appreciate that from you. Thank you.
It's going to make me cry now. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure to work with you, Dimple. I think we'll always be in each other's lives for sure. It's like it was a definite soul relationship that we had. And also a big thank you to you, Dimple, because you were the first woman that I decided to enter a long-term client coach relationship with. So that was a big part of my healing journey as well. And it was such a magical experience and such an honor to be a part of your journey. And I did say to you, don't forget me when you're on Oprah one day, because I really believe that is where you're heading.
It's so interesting you say that, actually, because the speaking is coming now. I've got my podcast, but also during our year, I became a #1 best-selling author. Like, there's so many different things that I think about now.
This was starting to go viral. Like, so many things happened, and you can't really fit it all into one video.
It's wild. It's wild. That's right. Yeah, Scott, 3 million hits on one reel and 2 million on another. It was wild.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, Dimple. I won't keep you much longer. If you love what Dimple does, she's honestly, her work is amazing. Her posts are amazing. She's always sharing wisdom. Go and check her out and follow her and connect with her. And if anyone is interested in the type of work that Dimple did with me, we did the HeartHealing Package 1-to-1, and then Dimple went into my 1-year program where she did a combination of 1-to-1 and my courses, so the Ultimate Up-Level Academy and my other courses too. So it was combined approach of self-study and 1-to-1. Chat to me if that interests you as well. Thank you for being here, Dimple. It's been a pleasure to see you again. Bye for now.